And can I say that at the outset that you're all very, very welcome. Obviously, with the town councils being disbanded, it's the end of an era. Town councils provided tremendous local government. I think even some of us would say with our current new experience of the district councils that I think there's a good argument to say that the town councils were, up to this moment anyway, were probably a better entity. So what will happen into the future, we don't know. But I suppose the occasion tonight is to mark the ending of the town council era, obviously with as many people as we could get back from the Greystones area to mark that occasion. And really, I suppose what I would say as Cathaoirleach at the district is to say a big thank you to every one of you. Thank myself as well. That a tremendous amount of work that a public representative puts into an area, you know, and at times, you know, and you can all relate to this. At times, it's a thankless job because you're a hero for 1 6 months and you're the worst person in the world for the next 6 months. But at the same time, there's something in one to keep somebody. And I always say to people, I met a friend of mine shortly after I got involved in local government, and he was saying to me that, my God, what are you after doing and all this kind of stuff. And I suppose I was about a year at that stage into it, and I kind of said to him, well, it's very funny, it's a kind of an activity, you either like it or you don't like it. If you didn't like it, you just couldn't do it. But if you like it, it actually gets into your bloodstream and kind of takes over your every moment. So, and you get, as we all know from our experiences, you get a great opportunity to do things for people and to get involved in things that you might never have got involved in. You get the opportunity to have the odd argument, and sometimes more than the odd argument. And the one thing about it is that we sit around tables such as we have here beside us, and we debate and we argue, and we'll have a different opinion based on where we're coming from or what our beliefs are. But by and large, at the end of it, we all move on, and it's like I always bring things at times back to sport and parents. You know, you play any kind of a contact sport, and you sometimes lose the rag and lose the cool. And when it's all over, you shake hands or you meet up with people years afterwards that you may have had boxing matches with, and you're great friends, and you kind of retain that kind of friendship. So I suppose I know a number of you that I know better than others would be very upset, and are still very upset with the passing of the town councils. But that decision was taken and it's moved on. So this evening, what we want to do is to say, as I said a few moments ago, is to say big thanks to every one of you on behalf of the community. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, the community by and large do appreciate what is done, because if you look at the amount of work that's been done in the Greystones area, that wouldn't have happened except for the people that's in this room. They really wouldn't, and getting on, debating and talking with officials and with the help of officials, lots and lots of things have happened. And everyone has got involved and said, done their piece. And some of us have been around the table a lot longer than others. And some of us have been here from, such as George, I think from the inception, George, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, George, and there's probably others as well, but George in particular, because he's only recently retired. But I suppose he hasn't retired, he's probably moved on to some other career. As an uncle I had one time, he retired out of the civil service. And he said, no, he's having a party. He said, no, it's not a retirement party, it's a change of activity party. And I think that's true, because when you're involved in local politics, you're generally involved in something else, whether it be your daily work or you're involved in other things. So it means that you're very, very, very busy. So without going on and going on and going on, can I just say again, thanks very much on behalf of the community for all of the service that you've all provided over a long, long number of years to the community of Greystones and beyond. Okay, thank you. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a presentation of what we have here beside us to each member, just as a remembrance, a token of your time as a town councillor. And we're going to do it in the ascending order of the long service all the way back, okay? So the first person I want to call on is Councillor George Jones. George has given 30 years of service to this area. He kind of I suppose if it should be known, he's been the continuing mayor of Greystones for years and years and years, even when some of the rest of us were doing the mayorship as well, because he's been there so long. He was there from the inception, and he has done tremendous work for the area. Him and I would have had many an argument. As I say, the thing about it is, while we might disagree on certain things, we would fundamentally agree on lots of other things. So George, I would just want to say again, it's a credit to you, and it's a tremendous achievement to have achieved 30 years of service to your local community. So on behalf of the community, I'd like to maybe present you with
I suppose yesterday we had actually a presentation for 35-year service at Wicklow County Council, and I was just thinking that I spent 12 local elections in Greystones and Wicklow between the two councils, and thankfully the people of Greystones and the wider area elected me each occasion. And I suppose one of the main things that I would say, it was an honour and a privilege to serve people as a community, and I think that's what politicians should always remain, that they are serving people and not themselves. And unfortunately, there have been people over the years that serve themselves, and I think local politicians in particular. I think everybody around here tonight, and some people that are missing, did certainly shape Greystones. We were very fortunate that the town council came in 1984, and at the stage when Greystones was already developing, it has been artificially held back into the 70s, and then it started exploding. And I think there's no town, I don't think, that in Ireland that has benefited from a town council and a town commission and people working locally in the community as Greystones, because today there's everything in this town. We have a tremendous town, and everyone here around this room should be delighted that they all play part. And as Tom said, there are times politicians will row, and I think that the sad thing nowadays is that with the existence of social media and things like that, it seems to carry on into that on a continuous basis, and I certainly would hope that people can still remember that they're working for the community. The last thing I'll say, I said it yesterday, just to show that I do have an independence streak. I think what was done by this present government with local government has been an absolute shambles, and I don't think it's going to serve this country well. But the regrettable thing I have to say to you, not one politician from any other political party or opposition has said anything about reviewing local government and giving back democracy. So you can take it that everybody up there in Dáil Éireann, from all parties, have as much regard for us as when they get into that house they forget local democracy. It's a sad reflection on Ireland, but hopefully someday somebody will come along with an innovative plan for good local government. But as I say, thank you very much here for tonight, and as I say, delighted to have served. Thank you.
There's no pressure now on everybody to make a speech. but let me say that it is a special occasion. It's a kind of the end of an era. So whoever wants to say a few words after I make a presentation, please do. Okay. The next person I'm going to call on is Chris Maloney. Chris has given 20 years of service to the local council here in Greystones. Chris kind of would be one of the more silent types around the table, but at the same time always came in kind of at the time when he had to, like the kind of silent corner forward. And he had to rise to the occasion. He certainly came in. So Chris, congratulations on your service to the community as well.
I'm not going to say much because I know the night will go very quick. All I need to say is that in fact, George is an honest member. There are two names that in fact was in the town council and the town commission from the inception to the very last day was Jones and Maloney. So we actually had that distinction that we had the two names that are honest. Thank you very much.
Next on the list is Derek Mitchell. Derek has had 19 years service on the town council. Derek, of course, is still also a councillor on the first municipal district. So Derek can come forward and make a presentation. Derek is also a little bit like Chris Maloney. He every so often he'll put his head above the parapet and knows how to put you in your place when he has to do it. And again, has done tremendous work for the community. And again, Derek, thanks for all that.
I'm still speaking as a politician, so I won't speak too much. I just want to say that the town has the lowest commercial vacancy rates, fantastic sports facilities, and that's not automatic what's happened. It is as a result of decisions taken here. And it's a huge expansion, which in many towns could go quite wrong. And I think it's a major town now. And I think that's to do with decisions taken here by the councillor who got on with each other and took difficult decisions. So that's a tribute to everybody here. Well, thank you.
That's the secret I have here tonight, is to demonstrate teamwork. By everybody making a comment as they are, it makes my speech longer and longer and longer. It's all teamwork. The next person calling on is Kathleen Cllr. Kathleen gave 15 years service to the council, and again Kathleen has been a Trojan worker in the towns everybody knows. She's a great worker on Greystones cancer support, does tremendous work for a very worthy organisation. She's also been very involved in the St. Patrick's Day Parade year and year and year, and lots and loads of other things, as I'm sure she'll tell us about now.
I came to live in Greystones in 1973, so a lot of the faces that I see at the back over there would have been town councillors when the council first started. And indeed, I do remember before Greystones Town Council was ever established, there was the Civics Association, the Greystones Civics Association, and there was Trojan work done there. Greystones Town Council, when it was formed, had an enviable reputation for working together. And I would like to think that that can kind of continue. Yes, people had differences of opinion, but the main focus was always working for the best outcome for Greystones. According to the old Irish proverb, Cllr.Tom, you can't do anything unless you're pulling together as opposed to pulling apart. Being a public representative was one of the biggest honours that I ever had. I mean, you put yourself before the people, and they're the ones that return you, or they don't return you. And it's public service. And it's public service here in Greystones at its very best. None of the work that any of us did as town councillors could have been achieved without the work of the staff. And I'm delighted that Joe Lane is here this evening, because he's the one who signed my nomination papers in 1999 when I went forward. And I always say that it's going to make him famous one day. And of course, Kay Coughlin, who was here at the very, very beginning, and to my reporter, who has been with us for some years. The work between the council officials, and I think this is sometimes lost in translation, the work between the council officials and the public representatives is a partnership. Neither can exist without the other, and a true partnership working together makes the best outcome for everyone. So I'm delighted to see old faces and new faces, and I wish everybody the best, and thank you very much again.
Next, one more councillor is Veronica O'Reilly. Veronica has given 15 years service to the town council. Veronica would have the reputation around the council table of being quiet one, but as the saying goes, there was always the quiet ones you had to watch. She knew when and where to come in and get involved, and she was very instrumental in getting the centre up in Cllr, and she did lots and lots of great work for the town. So Veronica, if you come forward.
I'd like to just say that I really appreciate the people that get me this 15 years and went out and voted for me. I have to say, I learned quite a lot in it. I probably could be fairly stubborn, and I have to say, with the help of the staff here in Greystones and in Wicklow, my time in Wicklow, I'd like a big thank you to everyone and wish everyone well.
The next I call on is Alex Davidson, who's had 10 years service. I didn't serve with Alex, so I can't say anything bad about him. So maybe you tell a bit yourself about you.
Well, I would just like to say here that, and to the rest of your councillors, the best of luck in the future years to represent this great town. Like my colleague George Jones, I too, even though I'm a long-standing member of Fine Gael, I do not agree with this setup. I thought the town council was doing an excellent job, and I prefer to see that, but I'll see what happens in the future. I just want to say it was a great honour to represent Greystones and the people of Greystones, and I have memories that I'll never forget. There's two people in particular that I just want to remember tonight who were very close to me. One in my own party, which was Jim Brennan, and one in Fianna Fáil, which was Tommy White. And those two men were meant a lot to me and were kind of mentors to me. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Next I call on Geraldine Maloney. Geraldine has given 10 years of service to the local council. And again, Geraldine, I'll let you speak for yourself.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Well, I was fortunate enough to be elected to the first town commission in '84, and from memory, I think we were only elected maybe 11 months, and we had to go back to the poll again. And I remember in the '84 election, like we were the only election in the country at the time, and we'd huge media presence upon us. I have to say, from the inception, under the stewardship of Georgie Jones, we worked very, very well together, and he was the one that taught us everything, you know, how to proceed, which we did. And I have to say, as regards the staff, we had an excellent rapport with the staff, and in particular our town clerk, Kay Coughlin. She was just exceptional. I'd just like to wish the new municipal authority well. I'm delighted to see everyone here, old faces, new faces, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much. Well done. The next person I call on is Joe Sweeney. Joe gave 10 years of service to the local council here, and Joe is known by every man, woman and child in Greystones. And as you know, Joe has a thriving business down in the harbour area that's going from strength to strength. So Joe, congratulations and thanks for all the work you've done.
Well, I don't know about it, commenting anyone on stage. Just thank you very much everybody for everything. Thanks.
The next person I'm calling on is Pat Killadee. 9 years service Pat has given to the council. I was on the council with Pat for a couple of years, and Pat was always, again, one of the quieter ones, but at the same time very, very effective, and has been involved with the credit union and various other organisations in the town over the years and done tremendous work for the community. Congratulations, Pat. Thank you very much.
I was just thinking, sorry, I did 6. I forget that I was actually elected twice. No, I was elected once, but I was co-opted twice. So it's been a privilege to be part of this forum. It's the work that was done here over the last, since it was started in '84, was unbelievable, given that we had no money. We worked from the basis of being able to beg, almost steal, borrow, and twist arms. And I have to hand that to George and some of the senior people here who were, we say, more in with Cllr than the rest of us were, and brought an awful lot to this town with no money, which is a phenomenal achievement. I'm not a town that could possibly do it. I think it's a shame that it has changed, but time has changed, so we'll just have to deal with it and see how it goes.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you all very much.
Next call on Gráinne McLaughlin, or Councillor Gráinne McLaughlin. She has served 8.5 years on the town council, and everyone knows Gráinne. Gráinne is a very, very hard worker and has done a lot of work around the town as well. Very involved in all kinds of festival activities and everything associated with that and beyond. Involved with chamber and various things over the years. So if you come forward, Gráinne, I'll present you.
I just want to say, little did I think in 1984 when I was managing the Latouche and taking care of the very first town commission's lunch, and I remember it so well that I would end up on the Civic Association, I think with Alan, and then we went on to district development. I never thought that George would call me, as I often said to him, into going forward, and it's been a great experience, and then subsequently Simon. And my thanks, I suppose, to all the voters who actually, under a difficult election this year, we did well, and I'm delighted to come back. I'd like to give a huge thanks to all the team in the council. People just don't realise how hard so many people within Wicklow County Council and Greystones, they work so hard, you know, they're constantly getting bad press, and it does my head in, because it must be awful to work in an environment where people are bashing you all the time. There's a huge amount of you who are doing a great job, and I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you.
Who gave 7 years of Trojan service to the council. Margaret again would be one of those people who might reading or would be very observant, doesn't miss anything that's going on, and knows when to come in and say what she has to say.
It's not all I can say.
I can say that more, but you don't need to.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this award, and I agree with a lot of the sentiments here tonight. And I just thank everybody here who's worked so hard for the town, whether they be councillors or staff here, and who I always felt got the greatest of support, particularly from Myra and Kay. And we have to mention everybody outside of here who's working so hard for this area and for the people as well. Thank you.
The next person I'm going to call on is Carmel White. She's here representing her husband Tommy White, who sadly has passed on. Tommy gave 7 years of service to the local area, and again was a very to describe as a local person. I knew Tommy in a different sphere as well. When I was a child, I played football with him for a couple of years. As he played football beyond many people had when he was retired. Very, very good footballer, a great person for the area, a great person for the whole district, in fact. So, Carmel, if you come forward, make this presentation. If you don't say it, I'll say it.
It doesn't need any introduction, unfortunately. 5.5 years service.
Thank you. Thanks. Joe's a man, a few words. I'll do up a resume later on and hand it out, so the next person we call on is Alan Bell. Alan has given 5 years of service to the local council. Alan, you come forward. I don't know a lot about your history, Alan, so I'm going to leave it to you to do that bit, okay?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations and well done.
I almost went into politics by default, really. There was a tremendous crisis in Fine Gael. A lot of people will probably remember it. And the voice of Wicklow and away with all the Fine Gael councillors. And they were really scraping the barrel when they asked me if I would. And I was as green as grass. I had no idea what was going on for most of the time. But anyway, I did my best for 5 years, and I was privileged to do that. And I also feel privileged to live in such a wonderful town. And thank you to everybody that supported me over the years. And thanks very much.
The next person I'm calling on is Evelyn Cawley. Evelyn has given 5 years of service to the local authority. Everyone knows Evelyn's been involved in lots of things around the town. I suppose one thing was unique was the local radio when it operated a few years ago. She got involved in that. She was interviewing everybody and anybody. But we were select. She was in, yeah, very. She's been involved in loads of things, and obviously in latter years she's been doing tremendous work with the mental health area and all that whole area. So, Evan, again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
On the time you've served.
I would just like to say thank you to all the staff. You were great during the 5 years I was here. It was quite a ride in terms of it was that time of boom when there was a lot of planning going on and a lot of activity, and it was very difficult for a town council like ourselves at the time to be on top of it all. I'd like to say Jolene signed my papers as well, Kathleen, so it was great for that. And I suppose my memory of the 5 years was great. It is a privilege to serve the community. It is a privilege to be elected. I do hope that the changes are good. I believe they are. I think a municipal committee is probably going to be good for not just the county, but for the country. We had too many people involved. People didn't know what was going on. So I welcome the change. I look forward to following their progress and seeing what's going to happen in the future. And I suppose I just want to wish everybody here a very happy Christmas and continued support, I think, from the community at large for the new initiative. Thanks, Tom.
Next, former councillor, young man, James O'Sullivan. James has given 5 years service to the local council. James obviously is, as I said, is a young guy who has obviously a massive career ahead of him, and for that reason I think he stepped aside from continuing in politics. But for the 5 years that he was involved, he was very tenacious. Very smart with his ideas and what needed to be done, and a very, very hard worker. So for that, James, congratulations and thanks very much on behalf of the community, and the very best in the future to you. Thanks very much.
I won't say much. I know there's a good few people still to go, but what I would say is when I was elected at the age of 20, I came in, I was phenomenally green. I spent the first 6 months not knowing at all what to do, and then the next few months and years being guided by the members of all parties and none, and the staff in particular. And I'd just like to thank the people who I served with for passing on an awful lot of skills that I think I picked up along the way and learned from each and every one of you that I've no doubt will help me in the rest of my life. And I think that's true for anyone who comes into politics, that you do learn a skill set, you do learn from everyone around the table. So I'd just like to say thanks.
Next person I want to invite up is Eleanor Roach. Eleanor has given 5 years of service to the town council, but she's probably given lots and lots of more 5-year services to the whole system because of her other half. So and Eleanor again is obviously very, very hard worker and worked for the best interest of everybody in the community. So Eleanor, thanks very much again on behalf of the community.
Thank you very much, Conor. Just like to say thank you for this nice bit of crystal to put up somewhere. We have a couple of plates in the house from the various town councils that we've collected over the years. But I'd like to say that while my tenure on the town council was very short, I think in a bit like Kay Coughlin, I was married to it for a long time. Of course, like James, you do learn an awful lot in politics. But I do think that local government, and I would regret the diminution of local democracy. I think it's so important to have a local democracy, to have an organisation like the town council, county council, that everything you do actually impacts on the daily lives of ordinary people. And it's phenomenal work, it's very important work, and I don't think that any diminution of that work is good for the county, good for the town, or good for the people. And I think we should keep an eye on it. Those who are in politics, who continue to be in politics, keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't happen too much. I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Myra, who was very helpful, Jolene, and Kay, of course, who's the other wife of the town council, I think, here in Greystones. I'd like to thank the people of Greystones, of course, as well, for everything we learned from them and everything that we had the privilege of serving. Thank you very much.
I know Paul and Phil Mooney. Phil gave 4 years of service to the local council. Phil, I don't know your background.
Sorry, I was a bit like Alan Bell. We had this little bit of a problem in feeding in. Certain people who should be nameless and their voice wake up. Al was saying that we scraped the bottom of the barrel, but the problem was I'm a backroom person,
Right.
and when I got to the bottom of the barrel, there was nobody there, so I had to go myself. But it was a pleasure to serve. The second thing I'd like to say is I love the Christian element of this service today. It's absolutely fantastic that those who actually laboured in the heat of the day for 24 hours get the same award as those who were in the 11th.
It's called equality. I now call on Colonel Brennan. Colonel served 2.5 years service. Colonel took over sadly when his dad Jim passed. I know the Brennans have given Trojan service to the town. I know you've been involved in various activities and some of the things that George has been involved with, and so in this presentation, congratulate yourself and your dad. And you might say something.
Thanks very much. I was, as I said, co-opted on. I was, as mentioned by others, quite green. Thankfully, I was taken under the wing of a number of councillors from various different parties. I didn't get the infection in the bloodstream that Tom had, and I couldn't kiss hands or shake babies. Therefore, have the neck that the rest of you to run in front of the people and run that gauntlet, which I think is a very brave thing to do, to put your name forward and ask people to vote for you. So you have my utmost respect for doing that alone. I'd like to take the opportunity of accepting this, and thanks very much.
And finally, I'd like to call on Joe Lawler, who completed 1 year's service on the town council. Joe, you can tell us about that year when you came up. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I'd just like to say a few words. I first came into politics under the banner, I think, of the Somali and Progressive Democrats. You may not have heard of them. That's how I got in. But eventually, I decided politics wasn't for me. And we came from a long line of dissenters. There was a famous James Finton and his brother Peter, who were on the outskirts of the United Irishmen, and were banished from the country, and they had to go to Australia. James Finton was shot in the shoulder and retired from all active policy or politics. But his brother Peter, still a bit of a rebel, had a job. He wasn't a bus driver because there weren't buses then at the time, but he was a horse driver of some sort. And eventually he moved out and went to the Eureka gold mines, and he organised the first strike of miners there because of the poor pay and conditions. And for that he was rewarded later on by joining and becoming a member of the Australian Parliament, famous Peter Lawler. So I remember him when I said this. Thank you very much.
That's all the mementos given out. And I just before we wrap up, just say to thank Mara and Kate and Joe. Joe, as you all know, is the district manager, formerly town manager, for all the work they put in and the support they give us. And again, we do argue with them and wrestle with them and disagree with them on lots of things, but it's all part of democracy and it's all part of doing the best job that we all can do for our constituents. And can I also, on the occasion we have here this evening, also just acknowledge the new councillors on the district, Councillor Whitmore, Councillor Lawless and Councillor Walsh, and just to say on all our behalves that you're very welcome, and we wish you the best, and we'll enjoy, and some of us enjoy the arguments we'll have going forward on different things. I just think politics and democracy is basically an argument, you know, and you know, because obviously you're not going to agree with each other all the time, and certain issues you do, but I think that's good and that's healthy. I think it's good for our constituents that we do that. So look, that's the longest speech I've ever made. Granted, I'm cheating in that I used the whole Latin to do the speech with me, which I think was nice on the occasion. And can I just wrap up by saying thank you all again very, very much for the service and the time and effort you've given to the community and to your constituents. And can I wish you all a very happy Christmas and a very happy and successful New Year, and keep safe. Thanks very much.